Hello and welcome back to another exciting episode of Artisan Electrics. We're doing a rewire this week. So this is the house where Corey was a couple of weeks ago. He did the EICR video, you'll probably remember, with the green goo everywhere. It's really nasty stuff. So the customer wants us to rewire the house as we recommended. And it was going to be a bit of a tricky one because they were living in here already. They moved in just a few days after Corey did the EICR. But fortunately, they didn't have too much stuff and they've decided to go out and stay in an Airbnb for a week so we can just crack on and smash out this rewire. There's not much furniture around, there's a few little bits that we've got to work around. But today is day one, so we're going to make a multiple part video for this, go through the various stages of how we do a rewire. Today I'm just going to do a little intro, show you what we're planning to do, maybe talk to you a little bit about how we price rewires as well, because I know a lot of you guys who are starting out your own electrical business, you might wonder, how do I price for a rewire? So I'll talk to you about that today. As always, if you enjoyed the video, smash the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and let's go.
Right, so let me show you this while there's no noise going on. This is the old consumer unit, which you probably remember from the previous video. And I've now disconnected the tails for that from the Henley blocks. So those are the Henley blocks there. The tails are disconnected. This is the solar consumer unit, which I have temporarily repurposed as a site board. So this is now, I've disconnected the solar feed from the loft. The isolators are both turned off, so there's no back feed coming down. And then we've just set up this temporary 13 amp double socket on a 16 amp breaker here, so that we've got site power, because we've got a transformer here with a vacuum and a chasing machine here that we've hired. So that's going to help speed things up. So I'll tour you round. I've got Dan going around marking all the boxes up. So we're doing 120 to the top of the switch box and 450 to the bottom of the socket. That's what the customer wanted, in line with the sort of building regulations for new properties, really. Obviously we don't have to because it's not a new build, but as it's a full rewire, it just makes sense to do it like we were doing a new build anyway. So we've got a pendant light going in, switch by the door, 4 double sockets, basically one in each corner here. This is a drawing of the property, so we've got a floor plan, and what I've done is I've made a circuit schedule according to what I think we will need to do in terms of circuits. We're going to do radials because, as you know, I'm not really a big fan of ring circuits. I think there's too many possibilities for problems with them. So we're going sort of European style, so to speak, 20 amp radials. We're going to do basically downstairs 2 radials, one for the dining room, one for the living room, and then one for the family room and hallway. Then we're going to do a ring just for the kitchen and utility room, because there's going to be quite a lot of power needed there. And then upstairs we're doing a radial for bedroom 2 and 3 and another radial for bedroom 1 and 4 and the hallway. Lighting circuits, we're going to have one downstairs, one upstairs. We're doing a cooker circuit as well for the kitchen. We've got a feed to the garage, which is going to be reused. That's that armoured cable that's coming out of the consumer unit. We're just going to re-terminate that nicely because that's fairly new. And then we've got a circuit for an EV charger, which we're going to put in, which will just go on the surface. We'll go up through the floorboards or through the loft and then clip it on the surface on the outside and just terminate it into a junction box at the moment, because they don't actually have an EV, but they wanted to just future-proof things so that they've got potential for an EV in the future without having to take floorboards up and mess around with the walls and stuff. So I'll show you around. This is sort of dining room area, so we've got 2 double sockets there, 1 double socket there. We're going to have a 2 gang switch here, down lights here in the ceiling. Just switch to a wider angle view so you can see. So 2 gang switch here, 4 or 6 down lights, not sure exactly what yet. By the way, this is an Artex ceiling. Now, we have had an asbestos survey done a week ago, and we're waiting for the results back to know whether this ceiling contains asbestos or not. So we're not going to touch it at the moment until we get the results back from the lab for the asbestos survey. And if there is asbestos, then we're going to have to do rethink the ceiling a little bit, or do some extra precautions to make sure that it's safe for us to cut holes in the ceiling. Same with this ceiling. This is potentially asbestos, might not be, but we're waiting for the results back from the lab. These were the only two areas where we might have trouble. The rest, there was a few things like floor tiles somewhere that might have asbestos, but that doesn't affect us because it's downstairs. These are solid floors anyway. And also the soffits are potentially asbestos, so we're just going to avoid those. So here we got the laser up. We're going to try and reuse that cooker box because it's just been stuck. It's sort of been glued into the wall. This is an old external wall here, which basically the room beyond it, the utility room there, is an extension. So this was a cavity wall, and they've taken the old cables up inside the cavity, and that box has no back to it. So we're going to basically keep that box and then redo these ones if we need to off the same line, and we're going to just chase horizontally around so that we only have to do one cable drop and then run everything else horizontally. So that's the idea there. As you can see, the customer has kindly labelled up everything where they want everything to go. We've got a 2-gang switch to go in here. Again, some recessed downlights in here if possible. Then in here, this is sort of utility room, so there's going to be a washing machine, tumble dryer in here, so we've got to put a double socket up high there for those. I'm not sure about putting one low down for here, or how he's going to extend the cables to that. We'll have to figure that out. A double socket on this side for a fridge and freezer that are going to go in here. Then there's a downstairs toilet, so we're just going to redo the lighting in here. I think a couple of downlights in here or something, and then the boiler switch, we've just got to check that out because that's an old strange kind of fan isolator that they've used for that. There's no fused connection unit for it, so we might have to just redo that a little bit. Just put a new switch in here. A couple of downlights in the utility room as well. Outside there's not really much going on, so I won't show you that. In the hallway, obviously we're going to put a brand new Hager consumer unit, RCBO consumer unit with a surge protection device, and we're going to incorporate the solar board, the solar circuit, into the new board. So the existing feed for the solar, it's almost new, it's only a couple of years old, so we'll reuse that. That goes into the loft and it looks like it's been done fairly decently. Main bonding to the gas, we're just going to chase it in. So this is the hallway. We've got a 2-gang switch to go here for downstairs light and upstairs light. In here we've got kind of another room where we're going to put various bits. So as you can see, Andy started chasing out the walls with this wall chaser. It's a bit of a rubbish one that they've given us. We were supposed to have a Hilti one, but it didn't pass the PAT test apparently. So the hire company gave us this one, which is a Refina one. Never heard of it. Got a Makita Vac, which is good, but it's not as good as a Hilti chaser. So we got just switch and like 3 double sockets in here. Pendant light, fairly straightforward. I'm going to show you around, and then you tell me in the comments how you would quote this. So 2-gang switch here again, up and downstairs. Then let's go right first. We've got this bedroom. They want to keep these wall lights, believe it or not. So we're going to try and reuse the wiring for these because this is a newer part of the house. It's an extension. So if possible, we're going to reuse the feeds down to those and just redo the main feed up in the loft. We've got sockets in the corners. Again, he wants to reuse as much as possible, so we might be able to reuse those sockets and just convert them, but we'll see. In here, we're going to probably put a new light, reuse that shaver light, and we've got to drill a fan vent. So either we're going to go up into the ceiling and then vent it out of the soffit, but there's a possibility that the soffits are made of asbestos, so if they are, we won't be able to touch them, in which case we're going to have to just core drill through the wall there in the corner and put a vent for a fan in there. This is kind of weird because there's no door, but yeah, it's fine. It is what it is. Here's just a toilet, so we just got a pendant light and a pull switch to go in there. Here is the bathroom with a socket in. Nice. So we've got this old light that's going to come out. We're going to put an IP rated light in here, and again just a pull switch will be all that's needed here. There's no shaver socket or anything like that, I don't think. In here, bedroom, we're going to rip out these funny little floor sockets that they've got, which are like 5 amp floor sockets. And we're just going to put double sockets in each corner, and he wants a light in the cupboard here with a pull switch, so we'll just do a batten holder in there with a pull switch. Then in here, simple again, switch, pendant light and socket. Remove that socket, double socket there, double socket there, double socket there. And then this is the room where they've kind of shoved a load of stuff for the moment. Not much, but in here there's going to be 2 double sockets and a pendant light and a switch. Then in here we've got immersion heater tank and boiler control, so we'll just reuse those if we can and rewire anything that needs to be rewired. And that is pretty much it. As I say, in the loft we've just got the solar inverter, which we've got to reconnect, and then we've got to put a light up there as well, and maybe a socket, I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, so that's a little tour. So we're just getting prepped, as you can see, marking everything up, getting floorboards up, getting carpets up. Obviously these carpets are not going to be reused eventually, they're going to be ripped out, but for the moment they're going to use them as kind of rugs just to protect the floor and protect their feet a little bit. So we're going to have to relay these after we have the floorboards up, but we can just relay them roughly, so that's good. And Dan and Andy are here today. Then tomorrow Andy, Chris, Corey and Oscar will be here, and they're going to really start smashing on with things, hopefully getting some cables in. Wednesday it's going to be probably Corey, Chris, Andy and Oscar again. Thursday just Andy and Chris. Friday just Corey and Oscar finishing off doing the board, and I'll be just jumping in and out of here while I try and organise all the other chaos that's going on, dealing with new inquiries, calls coming in, etc. So I've got to jump back to the office now. When I get back though, I might have a little chat to you about how do we price a job like this. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll talk you through my pricing strategy for rewires, how I do it. Maybe you'll find it of interest.